When we think of Greek mythology, we often picture the mighty Zeus, the wise Athena, or the vengeful Ares. But behind the scenes, quietly maintaining the order of the gods, stands Hebe, the goddess of eternal youth. Often overlooked, Hebe's role in Olympus was nothing short of vital, ensuring the gods' immortality and youthful vigor. She is the goddess of eternal youth, old age, vitality, renewal, and youthful spirit. While she may not appear in the most dramatic of myths, her role as the cupbearer to the gods, providing them with ambrosia and nectar, made her arguably one of the most important figures in the Olympian pantheon. Without her, even the gods might have succumbed to the ravages of time. Hebe is the youngest daughter of Zeus and Hera, sister to Ares, the god of war, and Eilithyia, the goddess of childbirth. Hebe was also half-sister to a whole array of gods and heroes. Despite being born into a family of powerful deities, Hebe maintained a quieter, yet no less impactful presence. Her gifts included more than serving divine beverages. She embodied youth, vitality, and renewal. Her role is incredibly symbolic in a world where even gods could desire everlasting youth. Hebe had an ability that could make even the immortal gods tremble. She could restore youth to mortals. This was not a power to be used lightly, and it's easy to imagine that the gods might have been cautious about making this widely known or even available to mortals. Her most famous demonstration of this power involved Iolaus, the nephew of Heracles. Iolaus had been instrumental in helping Heracles defeat the Lernaean Hydra during his second labor. In that labor, Iolaus would cauterize the wounds of the beheaded Hydra to prevent two more heads from growing in its place. Much later, after dealing with the Hydra, Hebe granted him his youth back so he would fight once again. While the specific circumstances remain unclear, some say it was to fight King Eurystheus, others suggest a different war. The fact remains that this was a rare, divine gift that only Hebe could bestow. It speaks volumes about her hidden power and how, despite her quiet role, she held a gift that could rival even the mightiest of Olympians. As for Heracles, after completing his labors and achieving godhood, he married Hebe. Together, they had two sons, Alexiaris and Anicetus, who became minor gods responsible for guarding the gates of Olympus. Her marriage to Heracles represents an interesting bridge between the mortal and divine realms. Heracles himself was once mortal, and Hebe became his divine counterpart. Originally, Hebe was the cupbearer to the gods, helping Hera in mundane activities and making sure that the gods had their fill of ambrosia and nectar. However, after marrying Heracles, Hebe was replaced as the cupbearer by Ganymede, a mortal youth whom Zeus had personally brought to Olympus in the form of an eagle. Ganymede's ascension to cupbearer shows Zeus's tendency to favor mortals with extraordinary beauty or skill. This also highlights how Hebe's role shifted after her marriage, from serving the gods directly to becoming more of a figure of renewal and youth. Despite being replaced, Hebe was never scorned or forgotten. On the contrary, she was respected by the gods, precisely because of her gift of eternal youth. While other goddesses, like Aphrodite or Artemis, were actively involved in the drama of the gods, Hebe's quieter existence served as a reminder of the gods' need for youth and vitality. Her symbol is the eagle, much like her father Zeus, and there's an interesting connection between the eagle and the concept of rejuvenation. In some myths, the eagle, like the phoenix, is seen as a creature that can renew itself, much like how Hebe's powers restore youth. This imagery strengthened Hebe's connection to the cyclical, renewal, and eternal vitality. In art, Hebe is often portrayed holding a cup of wine while beside an eagle who is probably her father, Zeus. Yet, despite her power, Hebe is often overshadowed by the more active and chaotic gods. Her role in mythology may be subtle, but like youth itself, she is deeply cherished. Just ask mortals. They often overlook their youth until it's gone, then they deeply long for it. The gods revered Hebe for the very thing they could never take for granted, their youth. For the Greeks, being immortal and being eternally young are two different things. In Roman mythology, Hebe was known as Juventas, a term that translates well into Spanish and other Romantic languages. Juventud is Spanish for youth, and juvenil means childish or childlike. While similar in many ways, Juventas also represents a slightly different concept of youth, one focused more on young men coming of age and stepping into adulthood. The Romans often invoked Juventas during coming of age ceremonies, pairing her with the goddess Spes, the deity who embodies hope, as symbols of new beginning and youthful potential. Though Hebe's myths may not be as well known or frequently told, her influence in Greek mythology is undeniable. While she stands in the background, the god's eternal youth and strength depends on her presence. In this way, Hebe's role may seem small, but it is in fact essential, just as youth itself is fleeting yet treasured. Thanks for listening, everyone. I did want to talk a little bit more regarding Hebe and youth, especially in creating connections between Hebe and Peter Pan and maybe vampire mythology, all of which deal with eternal youth in different ways. But for those more analytical videos, I'm gonna need a little bit more space and time, and I'm not sure if people are interested in it. Right now I'm dealing with organizing my brand and focusing more on Greek mythology and little by little expanding on other myths. I have some great stuff planned, but I barely have any time to act on it, so please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more mythological updates, and consider joining my Patreon for my opinion on many Greek myth TV shows and movies. See you around.